For the Carolinas. This is the Rob Brown Show.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get this show on the road. Welcome in the Thursday morning edition of the Rob Brown Show. Already Thursday. Time flies when you're winning awards. Thursday morning edition of the Rob Brown Show's on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate. Howdy, y'all. Welcome in. Good to have you. I am Rob Brown. And, of course, as always, directly across from me, the Alpha and the Omega of the Fan Upstate, the Professor of Perfection, the Wizard of Wave, the Sultan of Swag, the Content Cash Cow, Colonel Grudge, hashtag Dad Kicks, the Great One Lonzo's here. Hello, Zoe. How we feeling, buddy?
I used my horn this morning.
Used what?
My horn.
Your horn, like beep beep honk. Honk
yes,
honk.
yes.
Okay.
Something that I don't normally do. I just a little advice, as my voice seems to be getting a little bit better. It's shocking me. I'm pretty happy with that. The people getting on the freeway, that was a bird. The people getting, that's a really
dinosaur, dude.
It might have been a pterodactyl. I don't know. That was a bird. The people getting on the freeway, they have to yield. You don't need to stop and let four people out in the middle of the freeway. That's why you get bottlenecks, because people stop and let 3 or 4 cars out at one time. You are not obligated to do that. I don't care about your stinking, stupid Southern hospitality. I'm trying to get somewhere. I don't want to sit on the freeway while you, come on, hey, come on, stop it. I really want to yell right there, but I might pass out if I do that, so I'm not going to. Otherwise, good morning.
Man, hey, hi. Welcome in. Glad you're feeling good today, buddy.
You've noticed it.
What, the bottled rage?
No. That's like always.
Oh,
there.
You mean the actual traffic issue?
Yeah.
If you leave work, you go where I go out there to that interstate over there. When you turn off of Woodruff,
yes, that's Woodruff.
and you turn left onto the interstate, right? When you cross over, there's the road that comes from our direction, the studio direction, and then it merges with coming the other way, back towards us from Woodruff. And if you're coming from the other way, there is a yield sign to the side that is coming from our side of the studio. And every day I go that way home, and every day, like 2 or 3 of cars, 2, 3, 4 cars, just blast through that yield sign, not paying the least bit of attention. And I can't tell you how many times I've been like, man, just one time. I just want to gun it one time. Just blow. Somebody's buying daddy a new car. But of course, that literally already happened to me, so I can't do that now.
Well, not the gunning it part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you guys ever want to commit a little insurance fraud, do I know a place you can get away with it? We got a show lined up for you. We'll start with this. I don't know how many of y'all it happened to last night, but I was one of them. Went to the bed early, decided, you know what? Lady friend and I had a little Mexican for dinner, little chips and queso, little grilled chicken quesadilla with some cheesy rice. It was phenomenal, but I ate too much because I'm a fatty. So I decided, all right, I'm going to watch the end of Heat Celtics in bed by myself. Laid down, put my sweet, sweet head on the pillow, turned on YouTube TV just in time to catch a promo for the new Little Mermaid movie that's coming out. And I thought, all right, well, yeah, it's fine. Like I'll see it when it drops on Disney Plus. I'm not going to the theater for it. But let's see. when this game comes
Granddaughter
back.
wants to go see it, so I
You're going to see it. And
might
that's
be
fine.
the first movie that I take her to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I will tell you that hilariously enough, Little Mermaid was the first movie, I believe, that my mom took me to when I was just a wee lad, terrified of Ursula.
As well you should be.
Oh, yeah. Terrified of Ursula. She loves to tell that story. Anyway, that commercial ends, and then it goes to like a tax service production commercial, and then it freezes. The channel freezes on YouTube TV, and I'm like, all right. Well, let me click to another channel. I'll come back, refresh the stream. So I did that. I clicked over to something else. Ice Road Truckers. I don't know. And then I came back. And when I got back to that stream, Lonzo, Little Mermaid commercial was playing again. Followed by the tax service commercial again. Then the stream froze. I was like, oh, man, this sucks. So I turned off the whole system, rebooted the whole system, turned it back on. It turns back on. I go back to YouTube TV. I go back to ABC. I start it up. Little Mermaid commercial followed by the tax service commercial stream freezes. I'm like, oh, my internet must be junk, dude. So I got out of the bed, walked to the other side of the house, unplugged the router, waited 30 seconds. At this point, knowing good and gosh darn well, I might be back in for the last minute of the game. Get it all reset, reconnect. My phone's connected. My tablet's connected. I'm good. I go back to the room. I lay back down into the bed. And if there's one thing that I like less than getting out of the bed once I'm comfy, I don't know what it is. Get back in the bed, reboot the system, turn on the YouTube TV, flip to ABC. What do I see? Little Mermaid and a tax service commercial. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And then I get on Twitter and I see that this is happening everywhere. So I'm telling this story to Captain America, Chris Evans down the hall, which culminated in, I got so mad. How mad were you? I got so mad, Lonzo, in a rage. I turned off the television and got a full 7 hours worth of sleep.
You showed them. You did.
I did. I'll show you. I'm not watching any of your commercials anymore. Turns out YouTube had an issue because I guess they were experimenting with some new commercial distribution software that, most of the time.
So you don't do that during the day when maybe, viewership is down.
Yeah, no, do it
something.
during the highlight game of any sport that night. Makes sense, right?
Yeah, that's a good time to do it.
I don't understand all the jargon, but apparently it was some kind of new software, Zoe, where instead of when the network tosses to break, it sends a signal to the station that goes, oh, it's time for you to run your commercials, and you have 2 minutes, and then we'll send another beat that your commercials are done, and then there are commercials.
Which is how things work in radio during automated hours.
Right.
And you shouldn't be able to hear the beep.
Yeah. Apparently last night they decided to try out a system where you just directly play your I don't know what happened. It was weird. Anyway, I'm telling that story to Captain America, Chris Evans down the hall before the show starts. And I'm like, so I'm not going to lie. I don't know what happened in the last 3 minutes of that game. And Lonzo looked at me and went,
Jimmy Butler.
Jimmy freaking Butler, dude. Jimmy Bucket. Can I tell you guys, and we'll spend some time on this later.
It's the entire second half, but yeah, Jimmy Butler.
Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler, 35 points, 7 assists, 6 steals in game one. He is averaging over 31 points, 31 and a half full points per game in this postseason. And on top of that, if you go read the quotes that Jimmy Bucket was dumping on everybody else after the game last night, if you go look at the way that Jimmy Bucket's guys talk about him, talk about his game, talk about his production, talk about his drive, talk about his value. Jimmy Buckets, Lonzo, is the NBA player that we have all been waiting for to jump on board with and get behind, right? Jimmy Buckets does not do anything but talk basketball. Jimmy Buckets is about that life. Everybody that you ask will tell you that Jimmy Butler is a dude who puts in the work every day. First guy in the gym, last one out of it. Doesn't distract his team. He's not out there waving handguns around. He's not putting up social media posts designed to draw attention. He's not doing any of that. He shows up. He hoops. He gets you 32, 10, and 6 a game in the playoffs. And all of a sudden, a Miami Heat team that everybody had counted out finds himself up 1-0 on the Eastern Conference favorites.
Yeah, I
love this cat.
I'm rooting for Miami in the East, not just for Jimmy, but for Spoelstra because his tan is perfect, and I don't know how that's possible.
He lives in Miami, man.
Yeah, but through the years, I mean, you could be too dark, too light, too something, but he's found that perfect, and I don't know how he does that. Maybe he's got people. And Kevin Love, with all the white in his hair, I want to see him win another ring.
K-Love.
For all the naysayers and all the people who have dogged him throughout the years. And every time Cleveland had a problem when LeBron was there, it was Kevin Love's fault. Even though he was recruited by LeBron to come there, and and the fact that he was discarded by Cleveland and came to Miami and automatically started helping them win. So
I'm going to tell you, I'm a little mad at Kevin Love right now. Because last night, I had a 5-leg prop parlay going on this game. I needed Kevin Love to get 1 assist for that to hit. I just needed one assist. Just one. I needed 1 assist. That's all right, K-Love. Still love that guy. 8 points for Kevin Love on 3 of 4 from the floor. Chipped in 6 boards, though.
I know it's one game, but, the Celtics are supposed to just have this, right? And it looks, unless I'm wrong, 2 teams that were in the play-in game are both in their championship games and have a shot to play each other.
This series feels like any given game, though, any given game could end up going to whatever team has that guy pop off, right? Both of these teams have lived and died by players popping off through this series. Both of these teams, right? The Heat have lived by Jimmy Buckets having that big night. 51 points, 42 points, 32 points. On the flip side, I look at the Celtics. The Celtics are a team that we watched need Jason Tatum to have a big night here and there. Get one out of Jaylen Brown. It feels like whichever of these teams has that guy go off in any given night is going to be the winner. The fact that I trust Jimmy Butler to pop off for 32 more than I trust Jaylen to pop off. Tatum had that game while you were gone, Zoe. Tatum had that game where he went wasn't it 1 for 16 from the floor to open? My dude was putting together the biggest stinker of a playoff game maybe ever. And then he ended up going 3 or 4 or 4 or 5 from the 3 or 4 or 4 or 5 from the arc in the fourth quarter and bailed Boston out of what should have been a loss against Philly. They got saved by a late game pop off. And this series feels like it's going to be who pops off. Joseph Vasquez pops into the stream. We got Joey B and Joseph P. He says, just imagine if Philly had Jimmy Butler on their roster. LOL. Miami has 7 undrafted players on their team. That is wild. Can I tell you, what did I say yesterday? What did I say yesterday about the Los Angeles Lakers? Lonzo, let's see if your memory is returning back. I said the Lakers had one massive advantage for them, and it's not even a guy on the floor. What was it?
I will tell you that my memory is not back.
Darvin Ham, head coach.
Okay, now I remember.
Yep.
Sorry, I mean, this time a week ago I was in the hospital.
Yeah, we're gonna ride that one till that horse is
till the end of the week.
Yeah, that's
I
fair.
mean, give me another day.
I accept. I accept.
Once my voice is always back, all the way back, and my brain hopefully gets there too, then I can't use it anymore.
Darvin Ham with the Lakers is a wonderful head coach and a wonderful head coach who made some big-time adjustments against the Nuggets. Unfortunately, the Lakers just didn't have what the Nuggets had late down the stretch in the fourth. Eric Spoelstra. I don't know if he's the X's and O's guy that Darvin Ham is, but I'll tell you what he is. He's a dude who's been around for a very long time in this Heat program and knows how the chemistry of this team is going to operate the best. After last year, when they got bounced by the Boston Celtics in this same Eastern Conference Finals, do you remember what Jimmy Butler said? We will be back and it's our time. And then he spent about 5 minutes crediting Eric Spoelstra for bringing together a team that nobody believes should be here. And let's be realistic. On paper, do the Heat deserve to play with the Celtics? Just on paper?
No.
No. Not at all. Not at all. But Spo has built something here, and it's created this world where they trust Jimmy Butler to go be him. And he was him again last night, and it got it done. How did the Celtics respond? We're going to break that down. Plus, we get set up for Game 2 in the West and the East coming up tonight. NHL Stanley Cup playoffs. We've got Eastern Conference Game 1 in the battle for Rob Brown's soul. The Florida Panthers taking on the Carolina Hurricanes. So do I have to pick a side here? The state that raised me.
Pick the team that wins.
That's a good call. I like that. I picked the team that wins. I like it. All right, let's take a break. Oh, we also got Savannah Lee rejoining the show today. Savannah Lee's going to join us to talk PGA Championship at 10:45. And then at 11:20, assuming he doesn't fall out between here and there, it's Thursday. You know what that means. Fight Club, maybe, with Lonzo. Coming up at around 11:20. Show's lined up. Text us 71307. Call us 844-326-3663. We're back after this on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Guys got a live read. Y'all stay right there. We'll be right back. All righty, y'all. What's happening? How's everybody? Go feeling better-ish? Is that what you're going with?
Hey, a week ago I was in the hospital. Obviously, I'm feeling better, or I'd still be in the hospital. No, I am progressing towards whatever I was at before. I can get my voice back. I can fake the rest. So.
You may be entitled to cash compensation. Call 1-800-REAL-LAW for a free claim analysis. 1-800-REAL-LAW. This is the legal advertisement for Morris Injury Lawyers.
Now, CBS Sports Radio.
Upstage. Here's how to get in the game. On your radio at 97.7 FM, 1330 AM. Greenville, 97.1 FM, 950 AM. Spartanburg.
Listen on your phone. Download the Odyssey app and Sarah Upstate.
There's a whole lot more to know about sound if you really want to go into the subject.
Your smart speaker. Just say play 97 The Fan Upstate. On your HD radio at WFPC HD3. There's just one more thing. And on your computer at
TheFanUpstate.com.
Always streaming.
Name one thing that you love more than Joe Mazzulla loves not calling timeouts in close games. Mazzulla ended. How many timeouts did the Celtics finish that game with last night? 4? 4 timeouts down the stretch. Now, in fairness, I still haven't actually seen the end of the game, but I got a pretty good feel of how it went. It went pretty similar to all the other games where Joe Mazzulla doesn't call timeouts.
Never been that guy that goes, why didn't they call? They got all these timeouts. I mean, the coach is supposed to know how the players play and whether a timeout will help or not.
I mean, they've lost a few that a reset wouldn't have hurt, or at least wouldn't have been worse than what they actually did. Just panic last night. Texture said, Rob, keep in mind the Heat are doing this without one of their best young players in Tyler Hero that may be back for the finals. That's from UNC Chris. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate it. Yeah. And Tyler Hero can be tenacious out around the three-point line defensively, which the Celtics were already struggling with last night. The Heat were playing the run game last night, right? Just streaky. Get up and down the floor. Increase the pace. The Celtics weren't able to keep up. You know, I don't know if Mazzulla knows this. Most coaches do have a very effective tool to slow down the pace of a team that's getting up and down the floor on them.
Yeah, I get that. I do understand that a timeout can do that, but it doesn't always work. You know, and if he calls the timeouts and they still lose, no, you're not talking about it. I get that, but it's, come on. They lost because they got beat.
They lost because they got beat.
Put it on a t-shirt.
That is almost as good as Mario after he's lost back-to-back bets going, winners don't lose, baby. Great line. Well done, Mario. Anyway, you can't do that in that spot, man.
I get it's our job to look at both sides to try to break down, okay, why did this team win? Why did this team lose? The Celtics didn't lose because of not using timeouts. The Celtics lost because of Jimmy Butler.
They lost because of Jimmy Butler, but they lost because, again, the Heat was getting up and down the floor. More importantly, how many travel calls? In a league that one of the biggest gripes of fans is players are allowed to get away with too much too often, How many times did the Heat turn it over last night on travel calls, offensive fouls, because they were getting out of control offensively because the Heat were making runs when they were trying to set up for shots and whatnot, and they panicked.
Why aren't you blaming inconsistent reffing then?
Because they were definitely doing the things that were being called.
Yeah, and just like holding in football, they can make those calls just about every single time up and down the court.
I get that argument. I watched multiple times Jason Tatum spot up to shoot a three, get the shooting motion going, realizing, oh, there's a defender, and try to pull it back. I mean, these are obvious travel calls. These, like, I get it.
Yeah, but Tatum's a star, right?
Yes.
Okay, so it doesn't apply.
If Jimmy Butler was traveling and they didn't call it, and Jason Tatum was traveling and they did call it, I'd be upset. There was not inconsistent officiating last night. Last night was the Celtics kept getting Heat players in their face and they panicked and didn't know what to do. And Mazzullo just sat there on the sideline like, this is fine.
Isn't that an indictment on the league as a whole? If
no.
They were surprised by actual defense being played against them.
I appreciate and respect what you're trying to do. I do. But this, to say in a spot where your team was very clearly in a spot where you were getting outpaced, where you were freaking out, and where the team across from you, by sheer hustle and tenacity, was causing you to make mistake after mistake and create turnover after turnover, for your head coach to go into the locker room after the final buzzer and do so with multiple timeouts in his back pocket, that's not okay, man. It's not okay. Yes, I give all the credit in the world to Jimmy Buckets, to the Miami Heat, but to pretend like the Celtics didn't kind of screw themselves up a little bit, they at least didn't give themselves a chance to overcome what Butler was doing.
I can't wait till tomorrow night after Miami wins again, but Celtics take all their timeouts, so you can say, yeah, they lost, but it's okay because they took all their timeouts.
Again, I see, I respect, I appreciate what you're doing here. When a team,
I'm not there yet. I'm trying really hard to get where I need to be.
I understand where you're going.
Yeah, but I in the end, the timeouts really are not that big of a deal.
I could not disagree with you more. I couldn't. In a game in which you were getting outpaced, out hustled, and it was causing you to take mistakes, the best tool you have in your back pocket to slow the pace of the game down, which is the only way the Celtics were overcoming Jimmy Butler last night, was to slow the game down, was to pull the throttle back on the entire contest. And the very bet, you have two ways to do that. Number one, with your play, it was not working. Number two, with the coach hitting a couple of TOs when Miami goes on runs to try to disrupt the momentum. That happens every basketball game. A team goes on a 9, 10, 11, 12 nothing run, and the TO goes up to disrupt that. And it's like, does Jared Mazzullo think he gets a bonus check for every timeout he doesn't use?
See what I would do, and it's a good thing I'm not the coach. I would call a timeout in the first 20 seconds of the game, look at the camera and say, shut up, and then go with the rest of the game. That's what I would do.
And that is why Lonzo works with me and not Eric Spoelstra, ladies and gentlemen. All right. We can get away from that a little bit. Can I say real quick about the Western Conference Finals game one? Because I've been seeing this a lot, right? Well, if the Nuggets had that great of a game in game one, if the Nuggets had all of that going for him, and the Lakers still almost came back, imagine what they're going to do when the Lakers have their best night. Yo, that was the Lakers' best night. What are you talking about?
It was not.
It was the Lakers' best night.
That first quarter was horrible, man. It was. I mean, nothing was dropping. They looked sluggish.
They had 25 points in the first quarter. It's just that Denver had 37.
First quarter was bad. It was. It should have been a little more even if those shots dropped, because on most nights they do. But obviously they were affected by the climate. They've been there a few more days now. The climate's not going to affect them as much. They're going to come out and play hard in the first quarter, and the rest of the game they're going to win the game.
Anthony Davis got you 40. Reeves got you 23. Braun got you 26. Hachimura got you 17 off the bench. Your team shot 55% from the floor, which was better than Denver did. Your team shot 45.8% from deep, which was 1 percentage point worse than Denver was. Your team shot 88.5% from the stripe, which was a full 11 percentage points better than Denver, and you got more free throws than them. That was it.
I would say the offensive rebounding was the problem.
5 offensive rebounds for LA, 15 for Denver, and I got two words for you. Nikolai Jokic.
Yeah, but if
Too
those
many syllables, but you get it.
Yeah, if those 15 offensive rebounds led to points for the other team, I mean,
Yes,
that's the difference in the game, right there.
Right, that's exactly what I'm saying. Shooting night, Los Angeles had the best shooting night. That's the best they got.
That's not what I saw in the first quarter.
You're right. You're breaking down the first quarter
Right.
of a game in which they
you and
outshot Denver statistically from everywhere on the floor except from deep, where the Nuggets beat them by 1 percentage point.
Like hit in that deep, man. You went somewhere with your vocals. It was interesting. You and I both said yesterday that if they had like 3 more minutes, they would have won. So you take that 3 minutes in the first quarter and make some shots drop, they win the game.
I think the other thing you have to keep in mind here is that part of the whole concept of making shots drop is Denver's got a good defensive basketball team.
All right, just like with the other matchup that we've talked about, on paper, Denver is a better team, right? They got the guy who's been the MVP 2 years in a row and should have got it this year. Yeah, but they decided fatigue and gave it to somebody else.
So crap, dude. That's so garbage.
It's that way across sports, though, unfortunately.
Yeah, where's that guy who won that award at right now, by the way?
Vacationing, maybe?
Yeah, sitting at home being stunned that his head coach got fired because he got bounced again. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you. I started scrolling Twitter yesterday, and for a brief minute, Lakers in 5 was trending. I was like, what did you guys watch? Don't get me wrong, they made it a hell of a game late. They did. But that's also because Denver kind of got to the point where they were just like, I don't know, taking long-range shots for no reason.
So right now you're taking Denver to win the series then.
Uh-huh.
Okay. All right. That's fine. And if they do, I would not be surprised. But we'll see. A lot rides on this game too, because the Lakers are undefeated at home. They're going to have to win some on the road, obviously, to win the whole thing. And so we'll see what happens tonight.
Series is not over until a home team loses one. If LA wins tonight, obviously flip the script and they basically get home court advantage for the rest of the ride. If they do not, if they don't get it, Denver's done. LA's done. And I don't see how you expect the Lakers to have better offensive night than they had the other night.
So wait a minute. What you're saying is you can't do better than 55%?
I'm saying very, very few teams are shooting better than 55% from the free throw line. Very few teams. Denver didn't shoot better than 55% from the free throw line.
I thought we were talking 55 overall.
Let's see. The Lakers shot 54.8% from the field.
Yeah. So overall, 54%. Yeah. I mean, yeah, of course they can do better. They could be 100%. That's better. You know
Lonzo
what?
is back, y'all.
You know what?
Lonzo
If
is
they
back.
were 2% better, they win that game.
No, they weren't, because they still shot dramatically fewer shots than Denver because Nikola Jokic owns the glass.
Sure. Go with math.
Stupid math. Stupid numbers. Teams that own the glass in the playoffs are going to win. Nikola Jokic gives you not only a guy that can own the glass, but a guy who is deadly once he does with the basketball. That's why Denver wins. That's exactly what I'm saying. LeBron and the Lake Show can have a wonderful night shooting the ball. But you get, if you are Denver, so many second chance opportunities on offensive boards. They out-rebounded them by 10. That is, at the minimum, 10 extra opportunities the Lake Show do not get a second chance at. That's winning by 6 is what it is at that point.
All right. Kevin on the stream, by the way, you can see us on the stream, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, says Nuggets won because they were a better team. No, the Nuggets won because they scored more points.
So glad you're back. I am. You know, the team that scores the most touchdowns.
Why did you almost go Bill Cosby there?
I really did.
That was really close.
I really did. I pulled back on that one a little bit. Let's take a break. Come back here a minute. Wrap up hour number 1. Coming up in hour number 2, Savannah Lee. Savannah's back into the golf game, y'all. She is now a golf staff writer for SB Nation's golf site called Playing Through. Savannah's going to join us coming up in about an hour to talk PGA Championship. Lonzo's got Fight Club coming up for you in the second segment of hour 3. I got some hockey. I got some basketball. I got some football. All that coming up for you on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate, y'all.
Download the Odyssey app, search the Fan Upstate, and listen anywhere on your phone. I'm Chuck Sanders with the Sports Flash on the Fan Upstate. It's time to discover the convenience and time savings of contact-free pickup with Ingles Curbside. Just visit shop.ingles-markets.com or download the app. And your Ingles personal shopper gets to work with specialized training on how to select the freshest items for a pre-scheduled pickup. They'll even text you with updates. You pull up to a designated space and your personal shopper delivers your items right to your vehicle. Fresh, fast.
I didn't go to math school.
Low prices, love savings.
Is that like MIT or something like that?
Math school.
There's nothing quite like surprising your sweetheart with a new getup that has you looking your best. Check out their collection today at smithandjames.com. Stop by their stores at 222 Trade Street in Greer or at their new location on Verde Boulevard in Greenville.
Tired of getting dinged by monthly fees on your checking account? You need Simple Checking from Home Trust Bank. With Simple Checking,
Stephen, that was a battle that was lost long ago by many people. Many producers before me, possibly after me.
No hoops, no surprises, no monthly fees. Stop by today or call 800-627-1632. Simple Checking at Home Trust. Ready for what's next. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
There's only a couple ways to fix it: loss of digits or glue.
Loss of digits.
And glue would be a problem because he'd forget and write all over his face, and no one wants that.
Some guy, huh? Some guy.
So I caught up on NXT this morning. Tony D was arrested.
I stopped watching.
Oh, my bad.
I forgot.
spoiled.
That's not your fault. I forgot to go back.
I thought you watched the wrestling. Well, Kevin, you might get your wish, dude. Root for Miami. Root for the old guy. Root for Kevin
Root
Love.
for the old guy.
So get the right parts, the right fit, at the right prices at ebaymotors.com. Let's ride. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. Finding the right people to hire can be like trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Their powerful matching technology delivers so many qualified candidates. It's like finding a needle in a needle stack. In fact,
Great. That means we're going to start smelling paint here in a little bit.
Because everything comes through these vents.
The worst part, it's orange paint.
If the last hour of the show is just me and Lonzo giggling for an hour,
You won't be able to tell a difference. It's orange paint, too, which smells worse.
it's what?
Orange
Are we
paint.
painting everything orange?
Probably. My understanding, even though I've walked through those hallways, since I've been forced to use the elevator because I'm weak, I haven't even noticed the color. I was told it's orange, but the lights aren't on. So
Sponsored by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer. From the Ingalls Market Studio, the fan.
Upstate, 97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 FM Spartanburg.
All right. I'm in a weird spot here because of this Ja Morant story. Because there's two sides to it to me. The first side of it is, look, it's been known for a very long time that Ja Morant is going to be a guy, probably an NBA player. Of course, he's from right outside of Sumter, South Carolina. Been known for a minute Ja was going to be a dude. And I have been around dudes who it was known from a young age they were going to be dudes. Played high school ball alongside a guy who was a top-tier D1 NCAA football recruit. A guy that it was always known he was going to be a stud, went on to set major records at a SEC school as a wide receiver. And I watched that guy get away with everything. This guy did not understand the concept of consequences because there were none for him, right? There were no consequences for this guy. This was a cat who could get caught in a hotel room with illegal substances you certainly aren't supposed to have as a teenager. But we had a playoff game the next day. Lonzo, do you think he sat for that game despite the fact that another kid in the room had the exact same scenario and was suspended for the whole game?
No, but I'm sure he was reprimanded with
yes.
a little bit of a speech, possibly.
Yes, he got a very stern talking to. And then he proceeded to go out and play in that game the next day, right? No problem. There were no consequences. In fact, I remember very distinctly that one teacher tried to discipline this kid by keeping him in class. Effectively, you got to show up if you don't want to fail this test. You got to show up to class before you can go to football practice. The head coach left practice to walk the 10th of a mile from the practice fields to the school to go into that teacher's classroom and demand that he release or she release that player to come out to practice. There's no consequences. So, of course, kids like that don't understand why things like what Ja Morant's doing are a problem. It's never been a problem before, right? So Ja Morant got a stern talking to by Adam Silver a couple of weeks ago. And then 3 months later, does the exact same thing all over again? I'm not shocked, right? I want to be shocked. I want to be so surprised. Ja. How could Ja? Ja? But the answer is he got an 8-game slap on the wrist last time. Now, granted, 8 games in basketball is a little under 10% of your season, but he got an 8-game slap on the wrist the last time that he did this. And then what happened? His endorsements didn't go away. His contract didn't go away. He basically got an 8-day vacation and nothing else happened. So I'm not surprised that Ja did the same thing.
Yeah, but would he be doing this if he didn't keep the company he kept before he got here? When I got out of the neighborhood that I grew up in, and they call it the neighborhood, me and a couple guys, we say we got out because it was a bad spot, drugs, people dying, things like that. When you get out, you get out. When you get out, you don't bring it with you because that stuff that was there, you're helping it to happen. I mean, and it's hard to break away from your friends and all that kind of stuff. And I got to believe that that's a lot to do with what's going on with them. You got to break away.
I think there's 2 things that come along with that. First off, I don't know this kid that Ja's rolling around with, flashing the gun with. I don't know if he's been boys with Ja since they left Sumter, South Carolina, or if this is a new acquaintance from Memphis. I don't know what the deal is. I do know that if you're a guy like Ja, number one, you're going to have bad people that surround you, all right? People who want to get close to you for the money, people who want to get close to you for the fame.
Yeah, but unless you're into it and that's what you want to be, you can keep those people away.
I think you think it's easier than it is. I think that
I just told you. I know what it sounds like.
I understand, but you didn't, and I'm not going to say this to be mean. You didn't come out the hood and then turn into a multi-millionaire in your early 20s, right?
No, but I'm blessed to be here in the upstate of South Carolina.
Oh yeah, life's good. I'm not down. I'm not.
I have achieved heights that I never would have if I stayed there.
Sure. And that's amazing. But also, you're not a millionaire at 23 years old or whatever Ja turned out to be, right? Your decision-making faculties were well-formed. And you didn't have people clamoring to be around. Well, not at the time. You do now, but clamoring around you because of fame and dollar bills at the time. Ja did through college because everybody knew he was going to be a star at the next level. So there is a bit of me that has empathy, has sympathy for Ja Morant. I'm like, it's foolish, man.
Yeah, but
it's foolish. But I have some sympathy.
He needs a wake up moment, and unfortunately, those kind of moments, the only way they shake you out of that sort of thing is usually something really bad. You know, will this suspension actually wake him up this time?
See, but that, and I guess that kind of, I'm glad you said that because it circles back around to my first point, which is wake up calls usually come in the form of what? Consequences.
Death or arrests or things like that. Yeah.
Consequences. Wake up calls come in the form of consequences. And this is what this is something I've railed against for a while. Wake up calls come in the form of consequences. And as long as you've got high school kids that you know are going to be studs being coddled by coaches, by teachers, by parents, etc., and never facing consequences, I don't understand why we're shocked when they get to college and act a fool and there's no consequences. Then they get to the pros and they act a fool. Now, everybody's like, how could Ja do this? Why would Ja Morant do this? Why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't he? The dude's never faced consequences, right? The last one he got for getting drunk and waving Lonzo, quick question. If a video emerged of Rob Brown getting drunk at the Blind Horse or wherever and started waving a pistol up in the air like I don't care, what do you think the reaction would be?
I'd be breaking in a new host.
Yeah. Yeah. You all would have heard the final edition of the Rob Brown Show here on the Fan Upstate. He got in.
Don't take that out of context if you just tuned in. That's not the thing.
He got a 8-game suspension. That is less than 10% of a full season. Now, is that enough? Too much? I don't know. But I'll tell you right now, these guys don't have consequences growing up. I've watched star athletes get treated this way my whole life in different sports. There are no consequences. And when there's no consequences, why are you shocked when guys act like there's no consequences? Ja's acting like an idiot. I'll tell him to his face. I got some sympathy. I hope this gets it together for him. I hope this helps him get right. Let's take a break. We'll come back here in just a minute. Next segment, catch you up on where we are in the ACC meetings. That's been a hot topic. We'll let you know the latest when we come back on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
Sweater like that. If that guy lives down the street from you, you stay away from him.
Mr. Rogers is a national treasure, an absolute icon. Many of your rumors gone around that Fred Rogers flipped kids off for his TV show. The truth is he did inadvertently. He was singing Where Is Some Kid with Children. When he got to Tall Man, he proudly displayed his middle fingers because that's how the song goes. Oh, and Mr. McFeely was a speedy delivery guy, was Rogers' middle name.
Wait a minute, Mr. McFeely. Oh yeah, that's a good name for a kid's show. Come on, Rob.
It was Mr. Rogers' middle name. His middle name was McFeely.
Hey, you know, we're going from Mr. McFeely to Deshaun Watson. What a transition. Hello, let's talk about happy ending.
Same great show, new time.
The Rob Brown Show.
Now at 19 noon, only on the Fan Upstate.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Butler.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language. Like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right. And they're designed by real language teachers, so you learn how to have real-world conversations, things you'll actually use.
It's incredible. After using Babbel, I'm ready to start having real conversations in French.
There's all kinds of ways to learn. Use Babbel's podcasts or games or videos. You can even join live classes with a language teacher.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel.
Babbel. Babbel. Évidemment.
Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com.
There's nothing worse than coming home from a hot day to find out that your AC unit isn't working. When this happens, you need an HVAC company you can trust.
It's been approved. Not sure I can play it on stream though, Stephen, because I can't remember the music. I'm not sure the music I used was what they call whitelisted. And that's the only stuff that's safe to play on the air on stream without being struck with copyright thingy. And that's entirely up to Rob.
Can we hear the Star Award entry yet?
Yeah, I already answered that. I said that it's up to you. And the other thing is, I'm not sure I can play it on stream because I don't know if I use whitelisted music for that.
Aha.
Yeah. So I don't want to take a chance on that.
Tell you what if I just put it up on the podcast? Or should I not do that?
I don't know.
Submitted.
I mean, I don't know. Still not thinking entirely clearly. So we will converse further and come to a consensus or something.
Record after 2 seasons at South Carolina. Will Muschamp 15-11. Shane Beamer 15-11. That's the whole season. I just tweet that out, posting the record. And then people go berserk. They go nuts. It's like they can't handle it. What are you trying to say? Blah, 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 as if these two things are the same. I didn't say they were the same. I said that Beamer, through 2 seasons, has the exact same record that Will Muschamp did at South Carolina through 2 seasons. Now, if I were to ask you guys who inherited a worse situation, Beamer or Muschamp, what would you say?
Number 1 for real afternoon sports talk.
Offsides with Mark Ryan.
3 to 7.
Wow, that was a legitimate, decent question.
Our numero dos of the Rob Brown Show starts now, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. This is the Fan Upstate. How do you do, Upstate South Carolina? Hello, America. What's up, world? Great to be with you again. I am Rob Brown. Directly across from me, the great one, Lonzo's here as well. You want to be a part of the show? Now's a wonderful opportunity for you to just to do just that. You can text us on the text line at 71307, 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-N, and we'll read them on the air. You can also give us a buzz. on the Gilstrap Family Dealerships.com phone line at 844-326-3663. 844-326-3663. If you want to come at us in that direction. You can also tweet us at The Rob Brown Show. Follow us on Twitter at The Rob Brown Show. At Lonzo on Word, W-O-R-D, at Lonzo on Word. Or you can follow everybody at the station, at The Fan Upstate. At The Fan Upstate is the other direction to go if you want to get at us in the world of cyber medium. Come watch the stream with us as well. Jump on the stream, hang out with us. You can do that by going to facebook.com/thefanupstate, facebook.com/thefanupstate. You can go to YouTube, search and subscribe to the Fan Upstate, or you can get at us on Twitch by searching and subscribing to the Rob Brown Show. All the different ways for you to get in touch with us here on the radio broadcast. Let's get some updates out of the SEC media days, shall we? Keeping an eye on this because it has been hectic.
You said, you mean ACC?
Yeah, what I say, SEC?
You did.
Let's get to the ACC meetings taking place on Amelia Island, just outside of the butthole of America, Jacksonville, Florida, the worst place in places. Texter says, off topic, Rob, Bluebell has come out with a new ice cream flavor called Dr. Pepper Float. A float flavored ice cream. Why don't you just make a float?
I have to be careful how I say this. There's a jingle that I don't like from an ice cream company that will cause me to not eat their ice cream.
Even if it's flavored after your favorite soda?
Yes.
You hate it that much?
Yes, I do. Colonel Grudge, remember?
Okay. All right. Yep. Makes sense. I mean, I'd try it. Decker on the show Saturday, on Bet for the Cycle Saturday, said that he had got a Dr. Pepper flavored milkshake from Whataburger.
Sounds good. I mean, it's what's the difference between that and a root beer float?
Nothing.
It's just
that's what I said.
It's just your favorite flavor of
I'd give it a shot.
Pop, not soda, poured in over ice cream.
Texter said, I agree with Zoe. I grew up in the beehole of Florida, Jacksonville, and my life instantly got better once I distanced myself from all the people I grew up with. Again, that can be hard to do. I don't want to go back down that line. But that can be tough to do, without a doubt. That's what I'm saying. I've got sympathy for Ja Morant. Like, I think it's easy to preach from a position of idealism, but not from realism. It's tough to do for a young kid. All right. Pat Forty has entered the fray of covering the ACC meetings taking place down on Amelia Island. He brought out an interesting little tidbit to open up an article that he published yesterday evening. It said that, Lonzo, at the beginning of the ACC meetings, the member conference, or the conference members all sat together in the room and they contemplated putting out a statement of unity from all of the league members. And then they did not do that. Forty says, quote, the ACC punted on that idea, a small triumph for honesty and an inherently dishonest process. One ACC source explained it as, quote, we're not unified. We're unified until someone offers the school more to go somewhere else. Everyone is going to grab it, end quote. Yeah.
It's chaos up in here, yo.
The conference is just, you got to look at it like it's a place of work for the schools.
All right, I have a why do you need to put out a statement of unity? Why do you have to do? I mean, you usually do that when things are in disarray and you're worried that you're going to lose money or things like that. How is the ACC any different this year than it was last year?
I mean, it's not.
It's Clemson and everybody else.
It's Clemson, Florida State, Miami, and everybody else. But yeah, I get it.
So, do you understand my question? though? I mean, what necessitated the idea that they needed to put forth a statement of unity?
This would have been an idea, I suspect, that was going to come from like Jim Phillips, like from the commissioner's office, from the conference office itself. They were going to watch. You know what it was?
But why? That's why. I mean, I don't care where it came from or who's going to put it forth. Why do they need to do that? Is what I'm asking.
Because they feel threatened.
By what?
School's leaving.
Oh, okay.
School's leaving. Lonzo, I've worked in a lot of offices over the years, at a lot of different businesses over the years.
We're going to talk about who's more paranoid, me or you? Because this is a tight race.
It really is. I've worked in a lot of places over the years, and most of them, you know how I know things are going okay, Lonzo? You know how I know things are going fine at my place of work? Everybody's just plugging along.
When you don't hear anything from down the hall,
Yeah.
and it's just another day.
Yeah. When everything's fine, it's just show up, go to work, do your job, go home, relax.
So when you get that email of a mandatory meeting, that you start to get worried. We don't have one, by the way. I just wanted to just throwing it out there as an example.
Now, it's one thing, as we do here at the Radio Ranch, when you get an email that says, hey, everybody, we're going over to Spare Time to bowl and play laser tag. Hey, life's good, right? Life's good. We're all going to celebrate. We're all going
Don't tell people we get free stuff. They might want to start being in radio.
What, working here?
Yeah.
Good luck. We got very high standards around
We're
here.
an exclusive fraternity.
Very much. So those meetings are fine. The meetings that I get concerned about are the meetings where you have, and I'm not talking about here, I'm creating a metaphorical situation, but the meetings where you're standing with the rest of your workmates and the GM gets up and he opens with, now you know we're all a family here, right? I've never liked that phrase. We're a family here. No, we're not. No, we're not. As the great Ron Swanson once said, we are workplace proximity associates. We are not family.
I apologize, everyone. I'm hurt right now. I'm really hurt.
I am friends with some of the people that I work with, but we're not a family. My family's my family.
Let's see. We've done things outside of work.
Correct, because we're friends. Yeah. Lonzo and I are friends outside of work, right? But whenever the GM pops up and goes, you know, we're all family here. I know what you are about to ask me to do is something that is going to be great for the company and not great for me. That's what the ACC is doing right now, right? Jim Phillips stood up in front of all the schools and went, hey, you know, guys, here at the Atlantic Coast Conference, we're all a family here, right? And the schools went, no. Here's the thing. You might love I love where I work. I love where I work. That's not blowing smoke. I love where I work. Lonzo, if somebody comes around tomorrow and offers me $500,000 a year salary to take a job with them, you gonna fault me if I say I gotta go?
No,
Yeah, of course
I
not.
never fault anybody for leaving for more money.
Of course not.
But it is radio. If you're leaving for more money, you're going way up.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, with that kind of money.
yeah. So that's kind of the situation here. Is Florida State and Miami and Clemson, North Carolina, primarily those four. Others in the group of the Magnificent Seven.
Huddled in the back, snickering.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys want to sign a loyalty pledge? Yeah, just pass it. Sorry, can't you? Just pass it on back.
Yeah.
Sorry, boss. Just pass it on back, boss.
Yeah, and the boss is shocked by the reaction because he really believed that everybody
Aren't
was
we all
unified.
just a family? I thought we were family. Are we family? I'm not surprised by this at all. Like at all. Guys, there's no such thing as enough money. Right? There's no such. Have you ever heard of a business ever going, yeah, I think we've made enough, right? I think we're good. I think we're good right
We've
here.
reached it. We're there.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't recall hearing that.
We have reached the correct amount of money. We don't need to do anything else, you guys. We're good. We're set. We're
Not
settled.
1 cent more.
Yeah. Never happened. There's never enough money. And as long as there is somewhere out there that you can go and get paid more money, you're going to take the check. The problem is the earning power from individual to individual is different. What constitutes leaving to take more money for Colin Cowherd is dramatically different. Hell, let's use Pat McAfee. McAfee was getting paid by FanDuel $120 million per year to keep all of his entertainment stuff centered on FanDuel. And then what happened? ESPN came calling. A company that, by the way, is in the process of cutting thousands of jobs.
And they have shunned him in the past and
Yep.
banned him in the past, but they recognize what he's doing right now.
McAfee is leaving a $120 million contract to go over to ESPN, who are giving him a multi-platform project to work on there. And we don't know what the contract looks like yet, but I'm willing to take a stab at it, Zoe. Greater than $120 million.
Yeah, I'm guessing it's probably more.
Yeah. So, quick question, Lonzo. I know that you have said you're perfectly happy here and money would not cause you to leave. But if they offered you $120 million to, let's say, move the fam to Indianapolis and do the Pat McAfee show,
Why
you're gone.
Why you got to pick a cold weather place?
Because it's $120 million a year, and that's
Yeah,
when
I
he's leaving.
I could build an artificial sun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could do that.
You
Yeah.
can just buy a basketball gym and heat it all the time. You could heat it with piles of money, and you'd be fine. That's the point. Everybody's looking to do better. That doesn't exempt schools in conferences. They're looking to do better too. Florida State is looking to do better. Clemson's looking to do better. Now, they've come up with some concepts, some ways that they believe they can do better. That's why they've had the Magnificent Seven all meeting together to try to get out of GOR. That was step one. I told you yesterday, that group has apparently split up a little bit. They're not meeting together anymore. Virginia Tech Athletic Director Whit Babcock said that some of the schools were, quote, blindsided, end quote, and were in, quote, shock, end quote, about the fact that the Magnificent Seven.
Are they now the Sinister Six or the Fab Five?
I don't know how many there are.
Yeah, okay. I'm just curious.
I don't know how many there are right now, so I can't answer that question. But are you really shocked? Right? Is it really shocking? I don't understand it. Jim Phillips said, I feel really good about the future of the ACC. I do. We've got to close that gap for sure. But at the end of the day, how much revenue do you need to be a national champion in football or basketball and our other sports? Do you have to be at the top level? Do you have to spend the most to be the best? I don't know that there has been an equation that is connected the two. It's certainly helpful and certainly allows you a better chance. Let me ask you a question. Lonzo, if we go back and we list the national champions in college football for the past few years, let's see if we can spot a trend here. Georgia, Alabama, LSU. There's the last four. What do they all have in common?
Family. No, it's that would be the SEC, Rob.
That would be the SEC. Then you had Clemson. Year before that, you had Alabama. Then you had Clemson. Year before that, you had Alabama. Year before that, you had Ohio State. So we have dating back. I
swore there was another Ohio State championship.
Oh, one more before that, there's Ohio State.
Okay, all right.
1 year before that is Florida State. 2 years in a row back-to-back before that was Alabama. Year before that, Auburn. Year before that, Alabama. Year before that, Florida. Year before that, LSU. Year before that, Florida. You've got to go, ladies and gentlemen, all the way back to 2005 to get your last national champion who did not come from the SEC, the ACC, or the Big Ten. So Jim is looking here at a point where he has had since 2000 and hell, when was the last ACC title before that? 1999. So in this millennium, the ACC has 1, 2, 3, 4 titles. The SEC has 1, 2, 3. More than that.
How many of those ACC titles, if you took Clemson away, how many would they have?
1.
Okay.
Florida State in 2013. So the point here is Jim can sit here and go, well, we don't need to be the best. I had a guy ask me many years ago. It's a true story. One of my favorite stories ever, Lonzo. I had a guy ask me at a job I was working a number of years ago. I was 4 or 5 months into a job, and he goes, is this job only about money to you? And I went, yeah.
What kind of job was this?
At that point in time, I was a server at a restaurant in Destin, Florida.
That puts a little more in perspective. Yes.
Yeah. I was a waiter at a restaurant, and I effectively went to a guy and I said, there was a guy that I actually remember the scenario now that I think about it. There was a guy who came in who's a regular, right? He was a regular at the bar, and he came in and he would always come in by himself, and he would never sit at the bar. He would sit at a table, which is where you're going to make your money unless you're a bartender. He wouldn't sit at the bar. He would sit at a table, and he would come in almost daily, Lonzo, and he would get a cup of soup, which is like $4, and he would get water, and he would sit at that table for 45 minutes to an hour. He would pay his $4.50 or whatever, And whatever it was that broke up a $5 bill, so like 50 cents change, that will be your tip. So we'd eat up a table for an hour for 50 cents. And I went to the guy one time, and I'm like, if he sits in my section, I'm not waiting on him anymore. I can't do it. I can't wait on this guy for an hour for 50 cents. And the boss is like, he is one of our regulars. I'm like, right, dude, he's making you maybe $20 a day. He comes in, he orders soup, he drinks some water, he leaves every day. He's like, right, but like, think about what that guy's going through. I don't care. I'm not trying to be mean, but I don't care what he's going through. You're asking me to give up one of my bar tables, one of my income tables, to make 50 cents off a guy because maybe he's having a bad day every day. And he said, is the only thing important about this job to you the money? Yes! Yes, it is. If I can make some people smile, that's wunderbar. But I don't get to call the electric company and go, hey, listen, I know I owe you guys $140 to keep the lights on, and I don't have it, but I did make 6 people smile today. Is that going to be an acceptable form of payment? No. So, Jim, I get where you're coming from here, my dude, but your conference is getting outpaced by the SEC and the Big Ten. And the only thing that saved you was Clemson twice and FSU once a decade ago. Every other natty since 2002. Oh, I'm sorry, with one exception, Southern Cal out of the Pac-12. So every other natty, with the exception of 03.
It's like when you get fries and then someone accidentally put an onion ring in
One,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
USC is an onion ring.
For sure.
Since 2002. Every natty, with the exception of 03, where LSU split it with Southern Cal, 04, when Southern Cal had one of the best teams ever assembled, 2013 when FSU won it, and then 2016 and 18 when Clemson won it. Every other natty has been won by 2 conferences, and they are the 2 highest paying conferences in the game. Yes, Jim, it matters like a lot. Like a lot. Like a lot. Like the most, actually. It matters like the most. 844-326-3663. Text us your thoughts. 71307. Start your text with FAN, FAM. We'll read them on the air on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Live read here, guys. We will be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you Quick segment coming up here because we got Savannah. Savannah.
I know everyone cracks on Myrtle Beach in that whole area, but what's your favorite place to eat there? I've taken suggestions before. Some of them didn't work out so well, and others did. Like Bubba's was suggested. And it's like, okay, how can a place like Bubba's serve good seafood? Because it's Bubba's. But they do. I usually go by the thing that I do with a lot of restaurants. Okay, there's a lot of people there. That's probably a sign that the food's decent, as opposed to like 2 people in the parking lot. No, you don't want to go there.
Offsides with Mark Ryan.
Listen on the Odyssey app. Search the Fan Update.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. Short segment here. We got Savannah Lee rejoining the radio broadcast in the next segment. She's back to covering golf for SB Nation. She's going to join us to break down this PGA Championship at Oak Hill. The boys are out swinging the sticks as we speak, so we'll get you up with the leaderboard here in a minute. This is kind of interesting. We have gone back and forth on Bryce Young quite a few times. We saw rookie camp this past weekend. He got some workout time in. Frank Reich has been beyond complimentary about Bryce Young and his work ethic, yada, yada, yada. We have heard the comments from Adam Thielen, Scott Fitterer. Everybody seems to be blown away with this young guy and the work ethic he has brought, the knowledge he has brought, the execution, the fundamentals he's brought, yada, yada, yada. What about the other way around, though? What about how forget how BY fits Carolina. How does Carolina fit BY, right? Mark Ross is a guy that's got a couple of rings in his back pocket as an NFL exec. He is a current analyst for NFL.com. He got asked his thoughts about the 2023 rookies under center. And he said, quote, "Sometimes the first overall pick gets thrown into a mess. But Bryce Young joins a franchise that's worked hard to build a nice foundation this offseason. The Panthers hired an experienced coaching staff with head coach Frank Reich, senior assistant Jim Caldwell, and offensive coordinator Thomas Brown, amongst others. They did a lot of work in free agency, keeping their offensive line intact and signing a slew of talented offensive playmakers, including Miles Sanders, Adam Thielen, DJ Chark, and Hayden Hurst." He didn't say the do. I did, obviously. To help the rookie signal caller succeed, Young is a bright player who should thrive over time in this environment. He actually goes on to say that he believes Bryce Young, and this is something I think I've been trying to tell y'all for like a minute, but he goes on to state that he believes Bryce Young is the rookie not only best set up to succeed amongst rookie quarterbacks, but is also the most likely to succeed amongst rookie quarterbacks. And the answer to that is, yeah, I done tried to tell y'all.
Yeah, all that's well and good, but is he going to play this year?
Yes. Now, what week's he going to play? That's the question.
So, I mean, if you're talking about how everything is set up perfectly and all that kind of stuff, is he talking about things are set up for him to sit behind a veteran quarterback and learn how to play in this league?
You know what? I just realized you were gone during that discussion that we had.
You just now realize, because we all look alike. So you just looked over and was like, yeah, I thought it's just, Mr. Producer.
All
Yeah.
you producers look alike.
We do.
All you producers look the same.
Me and Brandon are like twins. Now, if it was Tim over here, I get it. Okay, I get it. But,
I tell you, dude, it's like Brandon, Zoe, Tim with the hair. On the hair chart, if we put your hair up for a vote, Tim versus Lonzo, who wins?
Tim wins. We've already discussed this. That's fine. I mean, good for him. He's got youth. You put us
these youths, Your Honor.
If you throw us in the game, at our peaks.
At our peaks.
I got a shot.
The youths, Your Honor. So we talked
Because
about.
you know why? Because I know how to move my hair. Tim doesn't know how to do that. There's a way. Get back to what you were doing.
I'm just realizing.
I have video proof. So,
No, I'm an idiot. I'm just realized I got to call Rashad, see if I can get him on tomorrow. It's Thursday. I blew it.
You can blame it on the fact that you're so excited that
Lonzo's back.
That other producer guy is back.
That other producer guy.
That you forgot to do that.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. We had the conversation last week where I said.
So you were thinking of the best hair, and Rashad beats all our hair, and that made okay.
I don't know. I put Tim up against Rashad.
No. Rashad hands down.
I put Tim up against.
No.
And just hair.
Rashad's hair is immaculate. Rashad's hair is what Tim wants his hair to be, and then never will be.
All right, that's fair. So we had the conversation because you can actually take a bet out in Vegas that Bryce Young starts over under week 2.5 or week 3.5, right? So we were talking about that, and I said, here's the interesting thing. This was before the schedule release got dropped, which we also haven't talked to you about yet. Before the schedule got dropped, I said, the Panthers have another advantage over the Texans with Stroud, the Colts with Richardson, and should they decide to go bananas, the Titans with Levis. The other advantage that they have is playing in a crap division creates a scenario for you where you can let your guys sit 2-3 weeks, and even if you go 0 for 2, 0 for 3, the division's not out of reach because it's not very good.
All right, so I'm looking at the schedule. You got Lions, Falcons, Saints, Seahawks. Andy Dalton can win those games for you.
Are you looking at preseason or are you looking at regular season week 1?
Okay,
when they got the Falcons out the gate and the Saints in week 2 and a Monday night.
Okay, well, I threw in the Lions.
Yeah.
That's a preseason game. My fault.
No, all good.
So Falcons, Saints, Seahawks, and Vikings.
Right.
Vikings is probably I realize that the Seahawks look decent, but out of those teams, the Vikings are the scariest. I don't see any reason to start Bryce.
So here's what I said.
Unless he blows everyone away in training camp, which we might get to see.
We might get to see.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this.
I mean, he'll be here. It doesn't mean we'll actually be there when it happens.
Oh, we'll be there.
Yeah.
We'll be there. Unless BY has a training camp that gives you those Peyton Manning vibes y'all been hunting for, right? I'm going with Andy Dalton out the gate at Atlanta. Week 2 is a Monday night at home against New Orleans. I'm going to be there. I'm going to go ahead and warn you now, Alonzo. I'm going to be at that game Monday night, and I will be off on Tuesday because there's a good chance, win or lose, I'm going to enjoy my evening in Charlotte.
All right, so are we talking press or are we talking tickets?
Oh, I'm going tickets, Jack.
Oh, okay.
Tickets.
Say,
I will go to all
if you go in press, get me too, and I'll go with you.
I mean, you can go as press. But
No,
your boy,
I'm not going press by myself.
Your boy's doing what he did last year. He's going to sit right there in the stands and have a lovely time. Can't wait. It's going to be a blast.
Except for when the Saints lose.
We'll see. It's a Monday Nighter. Derek Carr versus Andy Dalton. Maybe.
I might take that Tuesday off too. I would actually like to go to that game.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
I've never been to a Monday night game before.
I have been to a couple. They're a blast. Definitely more gas in the building.
Keegan says it's time the Armada makes a voyage to Charlotte. Let's go.
Let's get it.
Let's all go.
Let me finish this because we got to get Savannah in here. I'm way off the clock. Shocking, I know. BY don't have to start. I said in a while you had an advantage because the division was so bad that even if you wait until week 4, 5, 6 before you started them, as long as your team doesn't suck, the division's not going to run away from you. But you do have 2 divisional games right out of the gate, right? 2 opportunities for those teams to jump a full game up on you right out of the gate. You don't want to do that. Let's take a break. We'll come back. Savannah Lee, staff writer for SB Nation's golf site Playing Through, joins us next on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. All right, guys, give us a minute while we get Savannah on. We will be right back. Lonzo is capable, you guys.
Of many things. I want to be there when Rob goes to the Beacon for the first time too. Because I'd love for him to have a shout off with the Call It guy. You know, like shoot out the OK Corral kind of thing. They make eye contact, and then one yells "Call It," the other one yells "Call It," and then they're going back and forth. It would be awesome.
Call it.
It's not how he does it, but you know, call it. But like, you know, really loud. You don't want to meet me, Steven. You want to meet Rob. He's bigger than life. I'm just that guy that you pass, you know, in the mall and go, huh, and then keep going. That's me.
has been a minute since we've had our next guest on. One of my favorites. Glad to have her back as she is back in the game. Now a staff writer for SB Nation's golf site, playing through, you know her, you love her, you remember her, Miss Savannah Lee. Makes her way back onto the Rob Brown Show. Girl, how you been, Savannah?
I've been, it's been an up and down year, but I'm good now. I'm ready to rock and roll. It's PGA Championship week, and that whole intro just fired me up. I'm so excited to be back talking with you.
We are glad to have you back. I know we've, you and I have kind of talked on and off about some of the stuff you have gone through that, you've been covering college ball here and golf over there and working at different events and all that. But SB Nation has been around for like as long as I've been in this game, it feels like, Savannah. So I'm glad you found a home.
Oh yeah, me too. And I'm excited for what we're doing. We're doing it's like a one-stop shop for golf. We're not just doing the PGA Tour, but the LPGA. Yep, live too. Even though how controversial that is. Amateur golf, college golf, DP World Tour, all of it. We are going to break the mold and really build a golf community.
I love it. Playing Through is the name of the website. And Savannah Lee, you're jumping on at the ground floor because if my timeline is correct here, it went live about 46 minutes ago.
It did. We did a soft launch yesterday to clear the bugs and stuff, and it was perfect. And so we're super excited. We're now live. We have about 28 stories already up on the website that people can go check out that we've been kind of writing the last couple of days. And we'll continue to be doing PGA Championship coverage all weekend. So go check it out. It's a good stop.
I love it.
Good team.
I love it. All right, let's start with this. And it is the real quick, because I do want to get into the PGA Championship stuff. But we talked about this story yesterday on the show. I got asked earlier this week why Rory all of a sudden not only stopped being the guy that just would not let go of the Live Tour criticisms, but was actually hanging with some of the Live Tour guys at the PGA Championship. And my response was twofold. First off, he's not getting paid to do that, right? So, why is he going to come to the white knight aid of an organization that's not paying him to do it, A? And B, Live Tour got canned off their own CW network for syndicated reruns of The Neighborhood. It doesn't really feel like they are the threat that they were even a year ago, Savannah. What's going on?
Yeah, that was kind of funny that they cut the live coverage off, but I guess, whatever contracts and everything, you have to abide them. But I think Rory just finally realized that none of his other PGA Tour members are going to go to bat for him when it comes to live stuff. So he was like, for my own mental health, I think we should just take a step back and focus on myself. And while I'm, still the poster boy child of the PGA Tour, I don't necessarily have to be at the forefront of it all. I think he had a really good interview earlier this week with Keir Dixon about all of that and how it was time for him to focus on himself and the mental health, because you could tell it affected his game. And it had to be hard being on 24/7 and talking about live every other question instead of actually being asked about his physical golf game. So I think it's a good move for him. And plus, he's friends with a bunch of the guys that are on live. It's just a handful of them that he doesn't like. So it's not surprising that he's actually interacting with them. I really think that a lot of the PGA Tour guys outside of the still handful of ones that are like, no, thank you. They're like, all right, whatever. This is what it is, and we might as well continue to be acquaintances with them or friends with them moving forward.
Talk to me a little bit about Oak Hill, the tournament site for the PGA Championship. It is one that I have heard some guys love and some guys are not so much.
Yeah, it's going to be a doozy, I think. They've really upped the rough and made it difficult, and so you got to be good off of the tee. That's going to be the biggest key this week is whether or not the guys can keep it in the clean stuff. Some will be able to get it up and out of the rough, but I think the winner is going to be the one that has the most fairways and regulate. Well, is it fairways and regulations? Whatever. They have to keep it in the fairway the most, because that's where you'll see, if you watched early coverage already, there's a guy that's 5 under already, and he's kept it clean. And that's going to be how you beat Oak Hill. I like Oak Hill. I really like the layout. It's a good course. It's about almost 7,400 yards. par 70. So there's only 2 par 5s. I like that because we could see some carnage and not a ton of really, really low scores. I'm one that wants to see the higher scores in the majors because it makes me feel better as a golfer when the pros are struggling like I am.
Well, if watching people struggle is your favorite thing, I will start videotaping my rounds for you. Savannah Lee is a staff writer for SB Nation's new golf website Playing Through. It went live just under an hour ago. It is going to be a phenomenal resource for those of us that love to follow the game. I've looked a couple of times at some of the overhead shots at Oak Hill. And one of the things that I find very interesting, aside from the fact that it's got some narrow landing spots, Savannah, is that you're not just punished by rough, but they walk the trees right up to the side of the fairway, meaning it's not just landed in the fairway, but you've got to be deadly accurate with distance so you don't get yourself locked in behind a tree somewhere.
Yeah, if you don't do that, you're going to have to be finding a way to shape some shots, and with all those trees, that'll be even harder. So keeping it there and having good driving accuracy when it comes to off the tee is going to be key. Rom, Scheffler are 2 guys that are usually good off of the tee. We saw Scheffler go a little wide earlier in the round, but I think he'll be okay. Keith Mitchell is someone else that I think is going to have a good week out here. He is up there. He's number 5 in strokes gained off the tee. So I'm really excited about him. But the bunkers are also something else that John Rahm mentioned that are just brutal. They're super tough. They're like almost an Open Championship style of bunker. And I think the upstate New York, Rochester area is just like, you know what, we're going to give these guys a test and really challenge them because that's what we want to see as golf fans. We play this course all the time. And so we want to see the big boys and see how they take it.
I'm interested in this course, Savannah, because I think we've talked about we've talked about driver. You're going to go driver quite a bit, but you've got to be accurate. But it really is maybe the most well-rounded challenge these guys are going to face. There's really no element to the game that gets left behind, right? A lot of links courses, you got the opportunity to hit any club you want as long as you hit it well. Some of the narrow courses will take a little bit of the left, right, and green reading out of play here. This place has elevation, short-term and long-term. It's got rolling short hills. It's got quick moguls here and there. It's got some dogleg. I love this course. I'm fascinated by this course. Is this the type of tournament that might elevate Oak Hill up there with Winged Foot and some of the other courses that have kind of become household names?
Yeah, I think so. I want to put it in its own class. Comparing it to Winged Foot and other ones, I'm just like, let them make their own course. I think Oak Hill has a special place. It's done the Ryder Cup. It's done 3 other PGA championships on top of some senior tour events as well. And I think that's what keeps them coming back is that challenge and that precision that the golfers are going to have. They're not going to be able to just have one element of their game be really good. They need all of their elements to be really good on this course, or it's going to bite them in the butt. And so I love Oak Hill. I think it's a fun course. It's going to be a challenge, and these golfers need to be challenged. It's time for the -20 and 21s to kind of take a seat this week, and we want to see some like -4s, -5s win the tournament, and that's what you've seen the last few years at the PGA Championship. I think the highest was -10 or -7 in the last last 5 years. And so I think that's what we need in a major. We need a tough course that's going to challenge them. And this is one all of its own. I love the renovations and what they've done because it's made it even tougher. It's changed it a little bit. And I love, I went back to this earlier, but the 2 par 5, that's really the only true scoring opportunities that you have if you don't keep it accurate and on the fairways. And so it's just a monster. And I mean monster in the nicest way.
Savannah Lee is back, ladies and gentlemen. She is once again covering golf, this time doing it for SB Nation on their new website, Playing Through. It is going to be a phenomenal resource for golf fans. Savannah, so good to have you back, young lady, and we will do it again next week for a catch-up and a recap.
Awesome. Sounds good. Thanks, Rob.
You got it. Savannah Lee. Follow her on Twitter, by the way, at SportsGirlSL. At SportsGirlSL. Big fan. Glad to have her back in the mix. Let's come back and get our number 3 underway, including Fight Club with Lonzo and more on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
Apologies for going out of focus, but my hair was so awesome that it caused the camera to just have trouble focusing. So I put the hair up, and now all of a sudden I'm focused. So, or Rob did something over there, one or the other.
Probably that one.
What'd you do? You didn't do anything. I thought you did something. So I was right. It was my hair. Should never doubt myself. I didn't want to put my hair up because it's a little cold in here and my neck will get the chill bumps on them. And you don't want that. Unless you're into that sort of thing.
Do what?
I was talking to the people, man. Just talking to the people. Talking to the people, yeah. Conversing with the Armada. That's what the champ does.
Yeah.
Trey, in all these years, I still haven't made it to Ike's yet. I'm pretty sure Mark Ryan's been over there, but I don't believe I have. It's been like over a decade since I've been at the Beacon. Maybe not a decade. Now I'm trying to figure out how long my child's been out of high school. My youngest child. Yeah, I will be making a trip over to the Whataburger in Duncan. Probably like 3 months after it opens.
Have you heard the Love Brown show? Zach is an NFL quarterback. Zach and his girl, they were having a rough period, rough patch. It happens in every relationship, right? You get used to it.
Yeah, it's kind of disappointing for me to find out how far away it's going to be from me, James. And the problem is because it's so far away, it won't do great. And then they'll go, oh, nobody wants one. And they won't put one next door to my house where it should go.
Again, it's not that far away from his house.
It is really far from my house.
Yeah, you're going to be there like every Friday night in Duncan.
I'm going to be there like 6 Fridays. Oh, and I will hit it every time I'm there.
I was saying I'm going to wait a couple months after it's open.
Not me.
Because it'll be so crowded and
The third, the final, the best, the money hour of the Rob Brown Show goes now. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the Fan Upstate. I am Rob, the great one, Lonzo. On the other side of the metaphorical glass, he's back and better than Tuesday.
Yeah, definitely better than a week ago, for sure.
Would have been hard not to be.
That's true. It could have been worse, but yeah.
Not by much.
Not by much, no.
We're so glad to have you guys along with us today on the radio broadcast. If you'd like to be a part of the program, you can do it. 71307 is the text line. 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-M. We'll read them on the air. You can also give us a buzz on the Gilstrap Family Dealerships.com phone line, 844-326-3663. 844-326-3663. You can also email us, rob.brown@thefanupstate.com. rob.brown@thefanupstate.com. Let's get to some stuff, shall we? Let's get to some stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Let's start with, let's go with this one. Matt Ryan, not Ryan, called it a career a couple of days ago.
Did he though?
Did he though? Yeah, he definitely did. He's just got 12 million reasons not to announce his retirement.
He said he didn't retire, so you know.
So here's what it comes down to. If Matt Ryan actively avoids playing quarterback, the Colts won't have to pay him the like $12 million bonus they owe him this year by cutting him. If another team tries to sign him and he turns it down, they're off the hook. And if he just walks away from football, the Colts are off the hook. So what Matt Ryan has done here is created a situation in which he says, yeah, I'm still available to play quarterback, but you got to, I'm in the booth. Like, you got to get me out of the booth, right? You got to pay me more than CBS is paying me, but I'm not retired. I'm still in it, which means somebody would have to give Matt Ryan, Lonzo, 1 year plus the CBS contract, whatever that is, plus the $12 million the Colts owe him. You think anybody's going to take that deal? You think anybody's going to pay Matt Ryan 1 year at a CBS television contract plus 12 mil? Probably not. Probably not, dude. I doubt it. Not to bringing him in as, let's be real, a backup. But I thought this put together from Seth Wickersham on ESPN was kind of interesting. He discussed where the line it's drawn between good and great, great versus elite. Now, I will shoot a hole in my own topic before I get there by saying this, Lonzo. The line is drawn subjectively. Subjectively. Who's good, who's great, who's elite? It's as much up to you as it is all of us, because there's no benchmark, right? So let's start with this. Where would you put Matt Ryan on that sliding scale of bad to mid, mid to good, good to good, from bad to mid to good to great, and great to elite? Where would Matt Ryan fall on a sliding scale?
For me, it would be good.
Be good?
Yeah. I mean, he had a great year, the year he won the MVP.
Sure.
But for the most part, he's been good. You might, during his prime, have taken him over half the quarterbacks, maybe. So you might even say mid.
I would have put Matt Ryan in the caliber of good to very good, to be honest with you. This was an all-pro. This was a 4-time Pro Bowler. He was the second fastest to throw for 60,000 yards, 383 regular season touchdown passes, completed 66% of his passes. Oh, yeah, and by the way, seemed to be loved by everybody in the ATL when he was there.
Seemed like a good dude. Didn't hear
Just-
about any problems with him in Indy either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never, I mean, you heard him want to get paid, but you never really heard the like public contract demands that Lamar does. Dude never got in trouble. All he did was throw TDs, throw yards, and try to win. But I feel like
He's boring, Rob.
he is.
Yeah, I mean, he's so vanilla. It's just ridiculous.
You talking about as a person or a player or both?
More as a person. So, but I think that bleeds over into because you want your quarterback to have some flair.
You know, you want.
I would woo, but I would die.
I was gonna woo, but then you made me laugh.
Yeah. So you want because that's how I meant it. You want your quarterback to have some of that flair. You want him to be able to be a little bit flamboyant. You want him to be a little bit it's all about me type thing. Because he's also the leader of your and usually the focal point of advertising and things like that. So if you're a boring guy, you're saying that the rest of the team is boring if he's the guy you're throwing up on the posters
You
and
think
stuff.
Drew Brees had flair?
Yes.
You think
And he
so?
has that thing on his face that just
A birthmark?
it's a thing.
Yeah.
I wanted to go Richard Belzer there and go, I have a
Don't worry.
birthmark.
Don't worry.
Oh, no, I have a mole.
Mole. You can't do worse than when he went on Oprah and she went, you got something on your face, and genuinely tried to rub it off. I've never cringed so hard in my life.
But Drew Brees has a little bit of something to him. Ryan is just boring. I mean, in his looks and his actions, and there's nothing wrong with that, you know?
So let me read you this paragraph.
I hope he's better in the booth.
I'm more worried about him there as a
Yeah,
quarterback.
I mean, because is he going to be? I love Trent Green. I think Trent Green's kind of boring. Is he going to be like below Trent Green type thing?
Can't imagine.
Is he going to be like on the sixth team? You know, the one who gets the game that nobody's watching? Is he going to be that guy? They tried that with Olsen, and Olsen is anything but boring and
Olsen's
worked his way up. So, I mean, who knows? Maybe he could be a surprise like that.
So let me read you this paragraph that's in this breakdown from Seth Wickersham that I really liked, right? He's describing Matt Ryan, and he said he had plateaued in that nebulous, vague space of unknowingness. In 2013, after the Atlanta Falcons lost to the Patriots, when a last-second Ryan pass fell incomplete in the end zone, I stood with Tony Gonzalez and his family and friends in a parking garage attached to the stadium. Ryan and his wife, Sarah, walked by. After they passed, Gonzalez said, Matt's an excellent quarterback, but he's not elite. He's this close. He'll get there, but he's got some learning to do. And yet, he never got there. Or if he did, he didn't stay there for long. Along the way, he became known for something far worse than having a career most quarterbacks would dream of. He became known for losing. It was a particularly damning kind of losing, too. He wasn't a heroic loser, throwing for 1,000,000 yards and wasted efforts like Max Stafford was in Detroit. And Ryan wasn't an arctorial loser, because anyone with access to Pro Football Reference can look up his statistics and see that he won a majority of his games and that he also won more games than celebrated winners like Eli Manning, who has a similar sample size. No. After 28-3, Ryan became known for these death spiral losses that crush souls and uproot coaches' families and scar not only a person and a team, but a city. Losses that still seem inconceivable, losses that get pegged to a quarterback rather than a defense, no matter how big of a cushion Ryan would gift his team. Losses with blown leads after the Super Bowl of 17 points to Miami, 10 points to Carolina, 20 to Dallas, et cetera, et cetera. ... Losses that didn't stop last season when Atlanta traded Ryan to Indianapolis, when Ryan became the kind of franchise quarterback whose franchise decided to look for another franchise quarterback, and the Colts were up 31 against the Vikings, only to,
So apparently,
it's all Matt Ryan's fault.
he plays defense.
Yeah. My man is best known And don't get me wrong, as James just pointed out on the stream, counterpoint 28-3, LOLOL, which is fair. That
It's
game,
entirely his fault too.
yeah, that game
without
drives
a
me up
doubt.
wall.
Without
My
a doubt.
man built you a 25-point lead, 25 points. And I know you like to ask him to go out there and put up a 50 spot, right? Let's go get 50 in the Super Bowl. I get it. I like it. But my man gave you a 25-point lead, and you couldn't hold it for him. All these other games, like, this is what blows my mind. Is it so he writes, losses with blown leads after the Super Bowl of 17 points to Miami, 10 points to Carolina, 20 to Dallas, 16 to Chicago, 17 to Tampa Bay and Tom Brady because, of course, 10 to Washington. You know what that says to me, Lonzo? Says to me, Matt Ryan had you up 17 points on Miami, 10 points on Carolina, 20 points on Dallas, 16 on Chicago, 17 on Tampa, 10 on Washington, and you just kept letting the leads go away.
Every one of those games, after the game, the defense should have come up and apologized to him. That's what they should have did, because he's getting all the blame for it, and you guys are the ones who gave up the points.
The offense's job is to get you a lead. The defense's job is to keep it. I didn't mean for that to be as rhythmic as it was, but
it was, like a child's thing.
It kind of was.
Pretty cool.
Kind of was. Maybe if I coach Pee Wee football again, I'll do. The offense's job is to get you a lead. The defense's job is to keep it. The offense, in a list full, when this guy, it's all Matt Ryan's fault. Look at all these blown leads. The offense's job is to get you a lead. You just, as a bang on about Matt Ryan being bad or at the best average, but an article in which you call him a loser. The best point that you have to call him a loser is to go look at all these times that Matt Ryan regularly and routinely built double-digit leads, and the Falcons let him slip away. What? Are you kidding me?
So I was curious. Tom Brady lost 84 times. Were those his fault?
How many of them were blown leads? Because apparently it's your fault if your team blows a lead.
Yeah, so I'm just curious. Some say the greatest of all time lost 84 times. So 84 times it was all his fault.
I honestly really don't get it. I really don't get it. I hilariously enough, I found myself defending Matt Ryan against Falcons fans more than I found Falcons fans defending Matt Ryan to anybody else. And I didn't get it.
He's easy to blame. You know why? Because he's boring. If there's a problem, you blame it on the boring guy. Because the boring guy, he's not going to say anything. He's not going to do anything. He's going to go about his day. That's what he's going to do. You don't blame it on the crazy guy, because he's going to come back at you. You blame it on the boring guy. So he gets all the blame. You can say whatever you want. And how many times you ever hear of Matt Ryan clapping back in the media or something? You just don't.
Fair enough.
That's just not who he is. So they blame it on the boring guy.
Fair enough.
And so he gets this rap when he doesn't necessarily deserve it. And man, it's weird defending him. But I don't know why they're still coming at him for.
124, 109, and 1. He had a completion percentage of 65.6% completion percentage career. 62,792 yards. Average 7.4 yards per attempt. 381 touchdowns to 183 picks. And oh, by the way, Atlanta had some good wide receivers come through. Atlanta had some good running backs coming through. Was there a point post Michael Vick, pre Desmond Ridder, within the career of Matt Ryan, was there a point where Atlanta ever looked like they had a devastating offense built around Matt Ryan? Matt Ryan strikes me as one of those guys who dragged what would have otherwise been an annually 5-win team to 7 and 8 and 9 wins routinely by being Matt Ryan.
Yeah, he seems to be one of those guys. Okay, boss, that's what you're giving me. I'm gonna go out and do my best.
Yep.
And that's what you get.
Yep. Why am I defending Matt Ryan? And it's weird that I find myself defending Matt Ryan predominantly from Falcons fans.
Is Wickersham, is he just is he upset that Matt Ryan's got a media job?
I honestly don't know, right?
Because a lot of players who are great or not so great have transitioned into the media and didn't get this kind of hate.
In fairness, Seth Wickersham's chief job is senior writer ESPN, and here we are plugging his stuff for free. So he did his job. He said, I wrote about the likely end of Matt Ryan's career and the glory and tragedy of the 98th percentile quarterbacks, the very good ones who fall just shy of greatness. So, I mean, I guess at least in the headline, he's calling him very good, but not great.
See, I was almost great. I was named MVP of the entire league, made a ton of money, and I'm getting ready to make even more.
Yeah.
Sorry I didn't live up to your expectations, Seth.
Seth. What a jerk, Seth. Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a break. It's Thursday. You know what that means. When we come back, it's time for Fight Club with the great one. We're going to see if he can get all the way through Fight Club. You got it? You good? I believe in you.
I at least got 20% of it. So is that I'm gonna burn out like the first minute and a half.
Okay.
Yeah. No, we got
We
this.
stand in front of you and like
We got this.
do the trainer with the towel.
Yeah,
thing.
dude, you might have to bring in the cut, man. But we
Okay.
got it.
We'll see.
It's not that big of a gash. I won't blow my nose. I mean, we're all good.
Back after this on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
I don't know who Cutter Boley is, but it's trending in the United States. But dude's name is Cutter. Said something about a cut man. I look up and there's Cutter Boley.
The Cut Man. That is correct. That narrative is real. I am painfully aware of that narrative. I've seen it play out many times.
Secretly and in private to discuss an exit strategy. So what's going to happen next in the world of conference realignment? I think the Pac-12 adds San Diego State and SMU. The Big 12 tries to decapitate the Pac-12 by attempting to steal Oregon, Washington, Colorado, Arizona, and Arizona State. And the Magnificent Seven of the ACC explore their options. If they break away to a new league on their own, does that make them more money? They're slated to be at a $30 million disadvantage against schools like Rutgers and Vanderbilt when the new TV deals kick in 2026. I'm Mark Ryan.
Offsides with Mark Ryan, local unfiltered sports talk this afternoon 3 to 7 on ESPN Upstate. 97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 FM Spring.
They're hidden under my shirt tray. They blend really well with the hair.
Howard Macklin, founder of Innovation Refunds. You've heard me talking about the payroll tax refund for months. I'm so proud that we've helped over 15,000 businesses claim over $5 billion in cash incentives. If you're a business, even if you've asked your CPA about this, you owe it to yourself to take another look. Every client is assigned a licensed and insured tax attorney who evaluates your company at my expense to accurately determine eligibility. Innovation Refunds has hundreds of 5-star reviews on Trustpilot and Google, and
I went home and slept a good deal yesterday. Probably do the same thing today.
Businesses of all types can qualify, including medical, professional, construction, even nonprofits. Please don't miss out on this. Even your doctor would tell you to get an expert second opinion.
Gotta be good by Saturday. Good enough.
Good enough. Good enough is good enough.
Thank you, Cindy Lauper.
$1,000 per employee. GetRefunds.com. GetRefunds.com.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun.
Luckily, there's a ton of stuff going on, and since I missed a week,
You're starting to speak another language.
can actually talk about Guardians of the Galaxy spoiling this time.
There's always Pappy.
Stop it.
Pappy can't get no love.
He just happened to check in yesterday right when Pappy was written on the screen. Do not feed that ego. I'm not.
You trying to tell me Pappy got an ego?
Yeah, I'm not talking about Cameron. I'm talking about Pappy. Don't feed that ego.
Évidemment.
You know, a good character will just show up in the weirdest spots, including your mind, where you've heard it so many times. And
I started a nonprofit music school about 20 years ago called the Silver Lake Conservatory of Music. The reason that I started doing this podcast was music education. I'll be speaking with Rick Rubin, Thundercat, Stuart Copeland.
swear,
Thunder.
I don't think he's saying Thundercats. I think he's saying Thundercat. This is part of the next name, which was the drummer for the Police. They just said him just disappeared, but
Thundercats.
I would yell ho right now, but you never know what might happen. So bad rap. It would still be RAP, right? Or would it be WRAP? No, WRAP is like rapping. Rap sheet would be RAP, and that's where a bad rap would come from.
Unless it's bad rep, like a bad reputation.
I'm gonna go with rap just to see if corporate goes, you're using that incorrectly.
Nerd.
Welcome into the Fight Club. Sorry for last week, but hospital. Ain't no chumps here though. We going full on strong, punching with all we have left, which may not be that much, but it's still gonna hurt you. It's still gonna hurt you. Let's start out with something. A sign. I gotta start. This is a sign that affects me deep in my core, deep in my soul. It's something that I've seen. There's a war going on in AEW right now with signs, and first spotted this 2 weeks ago, and it's been answered. And I don't know where this is going, but I cannot wait to see how this escalates from town to town, from city to city. What is going to happen? And the sign reads, "It's pop, not soda." So last night's AEW, big sign, "It's soda, not pop." Where's this going? I don't know. Is this a setup by AEW? Is eventually the two guys holding the sign going to debut and they're going to fight it out in the middle of the ring? I personally know who should and will win. It is pop. It is not soda. And there you go. I don't know why. Signs in the audience for any sporting event are sometimes so random, but they don't affect me like this one did. And I just, heartfelt, thank you. Thank you for expressing what I believe, my opinion to the masses. I really appreciate it, sign guy.
First off, on the list of things we call this stuff, it is pop last. All right. It is not pop. It is soda at the minimum. If you're down here, it's Coke before it's anything.
Down here. I can actually hit that voice right now.
It is Coke, and then
It's
they
actually
go,
round here, but you know.
what kind of Coke would you like?
See, and that's dumb. Okay. That is a subliminal thing planted by the Coca-Cola company to get all you people to call anything the name of their product, thereby getting free advertising, and stop being duped. If you want a product, name the product. Don't just say, oh, Coke. No, we serve Pepsi products. Okay. No, that's
okay.
That's not how that works.
As the old joke goes, is Pepsi okay? Yeah. Is Monopoly money okay?
I've never heard that joke. Really, I've never heard that joke. You sure you didn't just make that up?
Yes, I'm very sure I didn't just make it up. It's very popular on the internet. The point here is
Oh, I thought it was a Florida thing.
The point here is it's Coke, then it's soda, then it's pop.
See, you can't even say soda without saying soda. I'm okay with it being soda in Minnesota.
It's just not pop.
When people say soda, you sound like you're from Canada.
That's fine.
I mean, if you're okay from being from Canada, that's fine. And you might be from Canada and be a good person. It's possible, I think. But, you know, if you want to sound like a Canadian, you go right ahead. It's pop. It's not soda. So anyway.
It's most assuredly not pop.
Shout out to, and it's never always Coke.
You know what's pop?
Guys, you know what? Saying Coke is just lazy.
You know what's pop? Like Michael Jackson's pop. Justin Bieber's pop. Those things are pop.
Would you say the full name of that carbonated beverage?
Coca-Cola?
The full name of the carbonated beverage, not a specific kind of carbonated beverage. What's the full name of that? Soda pop. Okay? Soda pop. It's just like down here when they say Thanksgiving instead of Thanksgiving.
When they say what?
Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like
we should talk about actual wrestling now.
Yes, we should. I was talking about actual wrestling. This is a sign in the audience. It's my segment. Whatever, dude.
Well played.
All right. Randy Orton is suddenly everywhere. Do you believe Randy Orton is coming back, and should he?
I don't know. I saw his pops the other day say that he basically said if the doctors say he's done, he's done. And he's like, cool. He's like, he's cool to walk away if he wants to. And if not, he's still waiting on the, I don't know, man.
Do you want him to come back? I mean, you know, he had a great career, Hall of Fame career. Obviously, well, he's already in the Hall of Fame. So, yeah. I mean, you know, maybe come back and be a mentor to his best friend. I don't know.
I'm
drive Riddle towards the belt.
I mean, if you bring him back, let's be real, you're bringing him back to jump Riddle, right? You're bringing him back to be Riddle's last foil.
See, I don't know. I think you bring him back and make it look like that the entire time, all the time, working his way towards getting him to win the new heavyweight title, and then retire, leaving everybody waiting for it to happen, and it never happens.
I don't know. I've always liked. Scratch that. I didn't always like. There was time where Randy Orton was kind of a jerk, but I've always liked Randy Orton. I would hate to see him be gone with such little fanfare, I think, but at the same time, like, is Randy Orton going to go down as one of my goats? I can't say that he is. So the answer, Lonzo, is I don't know.
I will say what is
undecided.
Before he joined Evolution, those promos given the health reports were some of the greatest that I've ever seen. Just the smiling. Just want everyone to know the arm's at 50%, and it was so well done. All right.
I do miss Apex Predator. Nobody's safe. RKO's out of nowhere.
The punt thing, I never liked that. That always scared me that someone would really, really get hurt. There was a battle royale, and the winner will face our friend Gunther. for
still can't do it.
the title, and Mustafa Ali wins the battle royal. Are you surprised by that? Because I was shocked. I was definitely shocked. I should have been more positive Ali, but I was shocked.
I was not shocked, and I was not shocked because, and I.
That was a condescending look, by the way.
It is a very condescending look towards WWE, not you.
Okay, because there was eye contact, but anyway.
This happened because the next pay-per-view is in
Saudi Arabia. Yeah. I was getting there.
And name me the token representative of the demographic you're playing to in Saudi Arabia. That's right. They really don't have anybody else.
It's pretty obvious. Mansoor. Mansoor. Who I wonder if Mansoor can play that character there.
You can't. No, you absolutely can't. In fact, not only can you not, $1 says that the male maximum models don't even show up.
You're probably not.
You couldn't have so this is one of the few times that yes, unfortunately your politics and your sports are going to cross over. And this is one of those spots. It's the same reason that you got women who come out and wrestle in bikinis one weekend, all of a sudden in Jeddah, in what is it, Jeddah, Saudi Arabia.
Yeah,
they're coming out in freaking.
Well, it's one thing to respect the territory or country or wherever you're in, respect their traditions. Is another to have to do it because in fear of death.
Yeah,
and so there's that.
Yeah.
Also, we'll get to it as it gets closer, which I think it's next Saturday. Will Sammy and KO still have the belts by then? Because Sammy has never wrestled then.
Sammy and KO, neither one of them. This is why I'm so intrigued by this, because Sammy and KO will not do the Saudi Arabia shows based on some other political and religious beliefs that they both held. And frankly, I don't blame them at all. Saudi Arabia is a bad place. Scratch that. I'm sure it's a wonderful place run by some bad dudes. This was the problem with the Live Tour entirely as well. So Sammy and KO, unless they for whatever reason, now maybe if Sammy went to WWE and said, "I'll tell you what, H, I'll wrestle in Saudi if you make a $10 million contribution to my his relief fund for."
I think it's Syria.
Yeah. Exactly correct. But guess who that's gonna bleep off? The Saudi Arabians. They don't want him there. So this whole thing about selling that match as happening in Saudi Arabia. No, it's not. Something wonky's coming, and you've tipped your cap.
Well,
by having this stupid show.
The other way to get them to not go, I would have saved this for next week. The other way to get them is to suffer a beat down, and then they're unable to make their flights because they're in the hospital or something.
Well,
that's another way to do it. But we also saw and this is a totally different situation, but still the Usos, because of all their DUIs and things like that, were not allowed to be in Canada. But last time they were in Canada, they showed up.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but again, the difference.
Money can get you past a lot of things, but that's you're right. This is religious belief and things like that. So convincing Sammy to go, I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't see Sammy and KO, which by the way means that
Roman and Solo will be the champions.
Yeah, or the Usos cost.
That's what
here's my fantasy book.
Saving that for next week, but let's go ahead.
Fantasy book, we're there already. Fantasy book is KO and Sammy retain. The Usos cost Roman and Solo the title. You end up having a complete and total devastation of KO and Sammy, so they can't fly, which you brought up a second ago. And what's the match we get in Saudi Arabia? Roman and Solo versus the Usos.
I know that's going to happen eventually, probably, but do you do that there? I don't know if you do that
I don't
there.
know what other options you have, right? Because you've promoted this as a massive tag team event involving Roman Reigns, and somehow or at least involved in the tag team titles. Well, if you're already not sending Sammy and KO with the tag belts, whatever you put in that place had better be a marquee event.
True.
And that breakup will be one. And do you think for a second that H, as much as we're giving him credit for being better than Vince, which he is, do you think for a second that he would turn down the Saudi payday over the Roman storyline? No.
Well, he doesn't have a choice because, I mean, he's just head of creative. So,
Right.
but I get what you're saying. As far as that goes, the shareholders and everything are going to be like, well, and Vince, who is still technically running the place. And yeah, we'll see what happens. All right. Last thing on WWE, our friend Gunther marched out to the side of the ring and stood on the announcer's table, and it was glorious. It absolutely was. It sent a message that he needed to send to the Raw brand, and he needs to be the main champion. It doesn't need to be Cody. It doesn't need to be Seth. It needs to be Gunther, and I think it has to be eventually, doesn't it?
No. I think Gunther's in an amazing spot right now as the Intercontinental Champion. The Intercontinental Championship is two things. It is a proving ground for you if you are the champ, right? It is your opportunity to show that you can carry a belt, put on a program, talk, make other guys look good. A, B, you're kind of the underboss on the way to the big boss, right? Like you go through the Intercontinental Champion to get to the heavyweight championship.
So you're like Stacks on your way to becoming Tony.
Hey, forget about it. And I think that right now, I don't think there's anybody I'd want holding that belt more than Gunther for a couple of reasons. Not just he's continuing to grow and get better, not that he can grow or get much better, but I think the other thing it's doing right now is it not kind of re-elevating the Intercontinental Championship back to where we want it to be as a title? Like for a little while
was
there,
until they put Mustafa Ali in there as his next opponent.
Yeah, except for Mustafa is going to get thrown around for 8 minutes. He's going to get one 30-second flurry in there. Then Gunther is going to drop him through the floor of the mat. And this is a squash match. It's fun. Hey, we got to put the brown guy into the ring in Saudi Arabia. And then Gunther is going to punt him into the stratosphere and retain because Gunther is a heel. And that's a heel moment.
All right. Trey on the stream said Rob sounded like Matt Menard when he's at Intercontinental. I noticed that too. And you know what? This is a good transition into AEW. So let's start with this Saturday Night Collision. Are you down with a live Saturday night AEW every Saturday?
I was going to say the other thing that he said.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. And what he just did was a stream exclusive. So if you didn't see it, go back and feel free to, whatever you need to do.
I got to be honest with you. I think I'm kind of hitting wrestling saturation. I think I'm kind of now hit me up in June when all we got is baseball. And it's like, okay, I got the time now, but I'm kind of, I've got 3 hours of Raw. I've got 2 hours of SmackDown. I've got 2 hours of Dynamite. I've got 2 hours of Rampage. I've got 2 hours of NXT. I've got premium live events happening 2 to 4 times a month at this point. I think I'm kind of at my saturation point, especially when you already got a show on Friday night.
All right. So at the WB upfronts, I think is what they're called yesterday, is when AEW was talking about this. On the poster is Thunder Rosa, who we saw last week going to Tony's office, is Miro, who we saw going to Tony's office, Samoa Joe, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Andrade El Idolo. So most of those guys and girl have not been on TV for a very long time. There's been talk, and it's true, and I've said this a bunch of times, they have too much talent and not enough TV time. So now they do. So do they create two brands? Is this now going to be like SmackDown and Raw?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I could see it pop, but
It's a way to go because that way you can really prop up the stars that you put on the other
here's the
thing.
You can do. All right, let's say for a second that was the direction they're going to go. What's the point? You could do the same thing. You just go, okay, we're going to do a Mox and Omega program. That program happens on Fridays. We're going to do a Miro versus Wardlow angle. That's going to be on Saturdays. We got Samoa Joe coming back for Punk. That's on the concept of the brand split isn't necessary. You could just say, hey, these guys are going to do it on Fridays, these on Saturdays. And that way, when you get to the end of that angle, Joe and Punk finish their angle, and next you want to do a Punk v.
Keep talking
Mox
about
angle.
Punk, but he is not listed as a member of AEW as of now.
So you ready to tell you what happened and what's about to happen?
Oh, I've read
As
a bunch of
somebody
stuff.
who, by the way,
but,
who
you know.
does not want Punk back, all right? As somebody who doesn't want Punk back, they started negotiating to get Punk back. It became very public news that Punk was coming back in Chicago, and they want to put the kibosh because what's the fun in having drop in Chicago and everybody in the building already knows he's coming and everybody at home. So they're gonna make up a reason that Punk hit the brakes with AEW again that keep him out, and then they're going to switch out. He's not going to be promoted, yada, yada, yada. And then you and I both know what happens that night in Chicago.
Yeah.
You and I both know.
Unfortunately, that's what happens. All right. Don Callis turned on Kenny Omega and used a screwdriver on his head. We've seen this coming for a while. They've been setting this up for a while. But to what end? I mean, what is your guess? Does Callis become affiliated with Blackpool Combat Club? Or I get it. Kenny has turned face, and Callis doesn't work with a babyface wrestler. He just does not.
I think that part of it is very accurate. But does Don Callis move over to the BCC and kind of be their Regal? Here's the thing.
They don't need him.
They don't need him. That's exactly right. None of those guys.
Brian Danielson, rather, he fills that role perfectly as far as being the mouthpiece. And so does Moxley.
None of them need that guy. They've got Mox. They've got Daniel. Hell, Claudio can work a mic when he needs to. They don't need that guy. So I don't know is the answer. And honestly, I kind of feel like ultimately Callis is the guy who gets left out in the cold here. Like what's next? Unless they've got somebody that they want to pair him up with.
Like say CM Punk, which would be a perfect pairing with someone who got in a fight with his guys. It just makes perfect sense. It would be the best pairing since CM Punk and Paul Heyman. I mean, if you're going to bring Punk back, pair him with Callis. I think that would be fun to watch. Speaking of Blackpool Combat Club, they say they are the elite in wrestling. Are they?
Are they the elite? Brian Danielson.
It's my fault.
No, it's on me. Brian Danielson is one of the best technical wrestlers in the world. John Moxley is one of the most entertaining brawlers in the world. Claudio is... I love watching Claudio fight because he's just a gorilla. I love that dude. The only one that does nothing for me anymore.
Yeah, Claudio. Yeah, Claudio he's a Bond villain.
He's just a beast.
He smiles while he does it, and it's just like okay.
Yeah, he should go back to wearing a suit and tie and just coming out and destroying people. And no, Mr. Wardlow, I expect you to die. I miss that guy, right?
I don't mind Willer either because you got to have that guy around. You got to have the yappy dog around, he's amongst the Rottweilers.
No, he does nothing. He does nothing for me. But subjective opinion, are they the best in the world? It's hard to find a four guy stable that's better.
Are they the best, at least in AEW?
As a collective, I think Kenny Omega's probably better than Brian Danielson.
Well, I'm gonna spoil you a little bit because you didn't get to see last night, but Hangman is back and the Elite is back as the full-on Elite.
Wow, isn't that interesting? Millennial Cowboys doing cowboy boat.
Yeah, that's what it was. One last thing. It's pop. It's not soda. Keep those signs coming, people.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let us take our final break. We come back, Twitter trending topics, and call it a day. I'm Rob. He's Lonzo. This is the Rob Brown Show. You are listening to the Fan Upstate, you soda lovers.
That's a good one, Steven.
You caught me with the last one.
You got it in there. I didn't cut you off. You cut yourself. Oh, okay. All right.
And then beat Toronto to make it to the Eastern Conference Final. The Hurricanes beat the Islanders and Devils to advance. Braves beat the Rangers 6-5 Wednesday.
That wore me out.
NL East leading Atlanta avoided consecutive series losses for the first time this season. Ronald Acuna Jr. homered in his fourth consecutive game for Atlanta. The Braves won 2 of 3 in Texas after getting swept in 3 games at Toronto last weekend. The Orioles beat the Angels 3-1 in Baltimore Wednesday. Austin Hayes homered. The Marlins beat the Nationals 4-3 in Miami Wednesday. Jorge Soler hit a go-ahead home run for the second straight game. Fan Upstate is your home for Furman Paladin sports all year long. Download the Odyssey app, search the Fan Upstate, and listen anywhere on your phone. I'm Chuck Sanders with the Sports.
I know, James. I'm telling you, 2 weeks in a row, back and forth. I want to see how it escalates.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month.
It was early morning yesterday.
That is now available to the public to save any.
Oh, I hate that song. That's the one song they did that I cannot stand.
My finishing move is to take my shoes and sock off. I like this hat.
For covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free
Jack Hager's hat.
towing and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-898-6155. That's 800-898-6155. What do you have to lose? Call 800-898-6155. Again, 800.
So I committed to be able to do something. Now I'm going to have to come through with it as far as building certain kinds of promos. So there are promos that are pre-built through Real World. They stopped doing them. And we would put in 3 per week on Word. I think I can do it. You've heard me put them together, the ones with all the sound clips.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I think I can do it. But the one thing that you got to do, they build a narrative through that. So the clips can't just be random clips thrown in there. It's got to build a narrative. And can I find the amount of clips I need to do that and cut them down enough to fit it in 30 seconds?
I'm not envious of that task.
I shouldn't have.
Agreed.
No. I said I brought it up and said I could do it. But I was feeling guilty about missing work. I am capable of doing it. It's just a matter of
It's gonna be work.
where I can find the clips. Well, yeah, I mean,
Is it for one particular show?
no, it's just for the station.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I know what commercials you're talking about.
Yeah.
Get round-the-clock protection when you bundle it's easier than getting your mom to make this radio ad. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Discount not available in all states or situations.
Humans can do a lot of amazing things.
It's painting the narrative of the week so far through sound clips from what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
But he's been wanting more local flair anyway. And it would be easier for me to build it from scratch than to try to take their stuff out. But the beds are already made a certain way, so I can pick a couple beds that I like
Right.
specific to new week, midweek, and weekend review. Weekend review is the easiest one. Just take a folder from that week's clips and mix it all together into one. In order to finish off the rest of my voice, it's time for Twitter trending topics. I tell Rob what's trending, and he will tell us why. The first thing that's trending is Jeremy Shockey.
Really? Is it 2009? Did he rip a Jets player's helmet off and throw it again?
No, here's the reason why it's trending. You know that thing where they say, show when you were growing up by this?
Yeah.
And it's like, show why you're how you were when you grew up. I got there. Thank you for
I believed in you
giving
the
me
whole time,
patience
buddy.
by the tight end that you rooted for. And so Jeremy Shockey is trending. So who would have been your tight end growing up?
There's not a shortage of them. There really weren't any great Saints tight ends when I was like a kid that I would say, but I would say Gates is on that list. I would say, who's Tony Gonzalez?
Yes.
Is on that list.
All right, so you would think with me, I would go back to like Ditka, but I'm not that old.
Coach
Okay, people,
Ditka.
not that old.
Coach
So
Ditka.
when I started getting into football, I'm going to go with Gonzalez because he was like the man for quite some time.
I think I got to go Antonio Gates, Tony Gonzalez, Shannon Sharp.
Shannon was always jealous of Tony Gonzalez, and he played for Denver, so I can never say that. All right, the next thing is trending is Brett Favre.
Brett Favre. Brett, you should probably just go hang out somewhere in the quiet for just a little while.
Just don't take pictures when you do.
And
just don't do that.
Brett just yeah.
Well, he dropped, I believe I saw he dropped Pat McAfee's name from the list of the defamation.
Of course he did.
Because Pat said, come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. Pat was ready to cut a whole ass promo on him on court.
All right. The next thing is trending is Zion Williamson. All right, you need to speak. The alarms.
I don't
go
want
off.
to.
Okay, we can just move on. I mean,
so let me rephrase that. I don't know why Z's trending. One of three things happened: either A, it's his birthday; B, he hurt himself again; or C, Popeye's chicken biscuits are on sale in New Orleans today.
I was thinking he heard about the new Whataburger going up in Duncan. That's what I was thinking. I don't know why he's trending either. Just I wanted to let you know I'm almost back by pointing out that he's trending.
No, that's super cool and kind and nice of you too.
All right. I think that's it.
Thanks.
You know what? One more. Pat Mahomes. There we go.
Pat Mahomes. Did you just call him Pat?
I did. When you boys.
Oh, Pat.
When you boys. We got similar voices right now.
My boy, Pat.
When my voice goes back to normal, it won't be the same. So yeah. He's trending for the Kansas City Coyotes. He's trying to get
Arizona to move up after the NHL said.
No,
well, actually, no.
No, I think it's a soccer team. Trying to get a soccer team.
Oh, is it
in Kansas City? I think
the Phoenix Coyotes in the NHL, the city just said we don't want you here no more.
Well, maybe that's what it is.
So I could see an NHL team. That's it, kids. Thanks for hanging out. Tomorrow, Friday edition. Here we're gonna get weird. Have a lovely rest of your day. Don't drink and drive. I'll punch you in the face. We'll see you back here tomorrow to do it all over again, but better on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Later, brother.
Thanks, Steven. If I didn't blow it today, it might be better tomorrow. I don't know.
Everything was Everything was super. Everything was awesome. Gunther will drop belt soon and win Money in the Bank. Sammy and KO will 100% be in Saudi. Hey guys, love Fight Club. Just wanted to get reaction to the biggest news in boxing. Jake Paul's fight announcement against Nate Diaz. Hey guys, we're a family. So kind, just working a 12-hour shift on your day off. You know, because we're a family. LMAO.
Yeah, that's what family does. Used to work for family and used to work those kind of shifts. So I definitely get it.
Some guy texted you the entire lyrics to the Bluebell Country ice cream jingle.
The sad part is that he knows him. I bet he didn't have to look it up because we all know him.
Bluebell Country ice cream. What a perfect way to say, have yourself a Bluebell Country day.
You can't get the kind of twang that dude has.
That was the kind of
No, you don't. You don't have that in you. That's legitimate twang.
Perfect place to say.
No, you need a little more bass in your voice.
All right, I don't know why I've started getting a notification. We're gonna turn this off. Goodbye, everybody. Have a lovely rest of your day.